What up, fight fans? It is Saturday night, August 1st. It is time for the Ivan Report. We've just ended UFC Fight Night 174. Brunson versus Shabazian. Derek Brunson scores the upset over Edmund Shabazian with a third round knockout and gets the win. I kind of think this fight should have stopped at the end of the second round. The doctors, this is my WTF. Why did the doctors allow Edmund Shabazian to go fight Derek Brunson in the third round? He was obviously looking concussed at the end of the second round. I don't think he should have been allowed to fight third round, to be honest. I think the doctor should have stopped it there and not let Shabazian take any more damage. But good for Derek Brunson. What Derek Brunson did to Shabazian, he exposed holes in Edmund's game. Edmund's takedown defense was not good tonight. Used the grappling to his advantage and gets the win. And now, pretty much, Edmund will take a little bit of a step back. But for Brunson, surprisingly, this is his third win in a row for Derek Brunson. Brunson looked pretty sharp on the striking and the grappling. I don't know if Derek Brunson's ever going to be a contender at 185, but he is still a solid gatekeeper at 36 years old. Still is a good grappler and has some good striking. So he's still a serviceable gatekeeper, but I don't think the win's going to elevate him that much more. I don't think he'll get a guy like Jack Hermanson next. Who I think is next for Derek Brunson? I kind of think you've got another prospect fighting in a few weeks, Amari Akhmedov fighting Chris Weidman. I think the winner of that fight is very likely getting Derek Brunson next. Amari Akhmedov, I think, is undefeated as of right now. Okay, he's 20-4. He's not undefeated. But Akhmedov is his last loss was at welterweight against Elizeu Zaleski. But then again, Akhmedov, if he gets past, I think he should get past Chris Weidman, who's continuing to regress in the UFC. So I think that's very likely next. I think that could be next for Derek Brunson, is the winner of Akhmedov Weidman. As for who is next for Edmund Shabazian, the good news is he's young. He's 22. He'll be back. Maybe he needs to take a little bit of a step back, but I think maybe he got Derek Brunson a little too soon. Time will tell. But maybe Brunson's seeing a late career resurgence. That's a possibility. But I think if he can get a win against a guy like Akhmedov, I think then you do talk about the guys like Hermanson, the guys like Till, Romero. I think get to 4 in a row and we will talk. But as I said, Shabazian, his future is bright in the UFC. Now he finally has his first loss in the UFC promotion. What does he learn from it? I would not put him up against a grappler anytime soon. But now we know he's got a weakness, and it's grappling. He's got to go to camp, work on the takedown defense, work on cardio. But I think he'll be back but I think a step down is I think it's a step down for Shabazian. I think a guy who's maybe a good gimme fight for Shabazian might be Eric Anders. I'm going to go with that. Eric Anders versus Edmund Shabazian. That's a step down. That should be a good tune-up fight for Shabazian to get him back on track. I'm going to go with that. In the co-main event, this was another stunner and a night of upsets in the UFC tonight. Jennifer Maya submits Joanne Calderwood via armbar. Jennifer Maya kills a contender tonight. And now I think what's next for Jennifer Maya? The Bullet. Yeah, I think she is next to fight Valentina Bullet Shevchenko later this year or in early 2021. Maya was game tonight. Calderwood took the risk by stepping in, taking the fight, and now Calderwood lost her title shot. Jennifer Maya, she does have a loss to Caitlin Chikagian and Liz Carmouche. She does own wins over Roxanne Modafferi, but I think Joanne and she is a former champion in Invicta. The Calderwood win, I think that is Maya's best win at 125, and with Bullet pretty much cleaning out the 125 division. Is Maya going to make it any fun of a fight against Shevchenko? No, but I think that's what's likely next for Maya. A date with Valentina Bullet Shevchenko. What's next for Joanne Calderwood? Calderwood, unfortunately, she lost her title shot tonight by getting submitted by Jennifer Maya. And really, was she that deserving of a title shot? Maybe not. Calderwood is 1-2 in her last 3 fights, not exactly screaming title shot. She got a win over Andrea Lee. She lost to Caitlin Chikagian. She's lost to Cynthia Calvillo. She's lost to Jessica Andrade. Not exactly good. Her best win is maybe against Andrea Lee. So that really maybe I think that Calderwood's a bit overrated. So what would be next for Calderwood? So yeah, if you see her resume, I kind of think Calderwood is overrated. She deserved what she got, and maybe Vivian Araujo should be next for Joanne Calderwood. I think I will go with that. Calderwood versus Araujo, and unfortunately for Maya, you're next for the Bullet Valentina Shevchenko. Good luck with that. And then the fight before that, Vicente Luque TKO's Randy Brown. Randy Brown was game in this fight. Just doesn't have the fight IQ to beat a top 15 fighter, unfortunately. I think Brown's has a ceiling, but for Luque, he's a good, solid gatekeeper. I don't think he'll be a title contender, but I do think he is a good top 15 gatekeeper. And I'll take that back. He's only had one bite at the top 15 at a ranked opponent, and that was Stephen Thompson, and he lost to Stephen Thompson. So maybe another shot at a ranked opponent could be next for Vicente Luque. But Luque is one of the best strikers in the 170 division. And Randy Brown is a good striker too. He's still a good, maybe mid-tier welterweight fighter. I suppose you could give Luque the winner of Neil Magny and Jeff Neal. I think that's maybe what could be next for Vicente Luque, the winner of Magny and Neal. That's like right there on the bottom half of the top 15. So I'll go with that. The winner of Magny and Neal should be next for Vicente Luque, who should be next for Randy Brown. You know, he's always going to be a good, exciting fighter. I just don't think he's ever going to be a title contender. But, you know, he's always worth maybe a 50G now and then. And he's always going to be an entertaining fighter in the UFC. I think Lyman Good. I'll go with Lyman Good. Should be next for Randy Brown. In the fight before that, unanimous decision, Bobby Green beats Lando Venata 30-26, 30-27, 30-27. We'll see if Randy... I'm tired. So. We'll see if Bobby Green continues fighting in the UFC or not. I know his career is kind of winding down at this point. I think next for him should be Damir Ismailov. That's who I think that's what Fight Matrix says is what should be next for him according to the rankings. As for Lando Venata, who should be next for him? Drakkar Klose. I think that would be a good, entertaining fight between Klose and Venata. That would be a very good undercard. Two strikers, really good strikers. That should be a very fun on a fight night card, on a prelim card. I'll go with that. And the prelims before that, we had Jonathan Martin. Nothing really that exciting. Jonathan Martinez beats Frankie Saenz by a TKO. Frankie Saenz probably going to get a fighter next that is in jeopardy of being cut. Frankie Saenz is now. Oh, he's kind of gone through some hard times. His last 7 fights, he is 2-5. So he probably will get another fighter who's on a losing streak. As for Jonathan Martinez, he bounces back from losing to Andre Ewell, who should be next for Jonathan Martinez. We'll see what the Fight Matrix brings in as in terms of rankings for who's next. Khalid Taha. I'll go with that. That's what Fight Matrix says should be next for him. Khalid Taha should be going up against Jonathan Martinez. That should be next. Nathan Menes beats Johnny Munoz. Munoz replaces Ray Borg for undisclosed reasons. Jamal Emmers beats Vincent Chacero via unanimous decision. And Chris Gutierrez draws Cody Durden. It was a unanimous draw. All three judges had it 28-28. A very rare unanimous draw in the UFC in the first fight of the night. And Munoz was also deducted a point in the fight against Maness for repeated strikes to the groin. We did also have quite a couple of, we had like 3 fights that were scrapped and canceled on this fight card, which make tonight's fight card pretty quick tonight. We had Eric Spicely, who was supposed to fight Marcus Perez. Spicely was removed due to weight issues. Martinez was fined for being overweight. He missed weight by 4.5 pounds. Kevin Gillies was supposed to fight tonight against Kevin Holland, and then John Young Park and Da Ujung were supposed to fight those 2 fighters. They were removed due to COVID concerns in South Korea. Then Trevin Giles was supposed to fight Kevin Holland, and then unfortunately Trevin Giles fainted moments before his walkout, and that fight ended up unfortunately being canceled due to him fainting. I'm hoping that Trevin Giles is okay and he will make a full recovery. And the other fight, Ed Herman was supposed to fight Gerald Mearshart. Mearshart was pulled, unfortunately, for testing positive for the dreaded COVID-19. So I wish Gerald Mearshart a speedy recovery from the dreaded COVID virus, the coronavirus going around. COVID's a bitch. It definitely is. And tomorrow we'll talk more about COVID when I do play football previews tomorrow, and it's really screwing up a lot of what's going on in Major League Baseball right now. You've got the Marlins with almost the full roster having COVID-19. Now some more players are testing positive on the St. Louis Cardinals. So there's going to have to be some changes in Major League Baseball. Get that tomorrow. But next week we do have hopefully a better fight card next week on ESPN Plus at the UFC Apex. Next weekend it is Derek Lewis against Alexei Olenek, with the co-main event being Chris Weidman against Amari Akhmedov. So there we go. This should be an okay fight card. And then Tuesday night marks the return of Dana White's Contender Series. So have your fire sticks ready for Tuesday night. Dana White Contender Series is back in the octagon, so that should be a lot of fun there. And then 2 weeks from now, we will have the trilogy fight between Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic. I am going to head to bed. I'm getting through another 6-day week. Remember to wear your mask, physically distance, stay awesome. We'll be back tomorrow. Good night.